And a little while ago, my wife and I took a little time off and went on vacation to the beach in North Carolina. And this was just right outside the restaurant that we were eating. So I just took some snapshots, nothing really fancy here. And then this was, I believe, that evening as the sun was going down. And this is straight out of the camera. And with a little bit of enhancement in Photoshop, you can just punch it up a little bit. And this was set to, I believe, just about all these, I kept that ISO 800 just to see how it would perform, just to see how they would come up at that high ISO. There's another, straight out of the camera, and with a little bit more of an enhancement in Photoshop, just to punch it up a little bit. Just amazing. And we got a beautiful sunrise here the next morning. Full zoom in here. Whoa, that's bright. And just backing off a bit, but you can see the beautiful colors coming out of this camera. Later on that afternoon, just walking down the beach. And here I'm at full zoom with this surfer doing I don't know if you would call this kite surfing or windsurfing, but it was really spectacular and he was really far away and I was at full zoom and this camera just captured it. Here at a biker rally, just for fun. I just had this camera with me. And at the State Fair in Raleigh, this is pretty much straight out of the camera. Look at the beautiful colors right out of the camera. And then, of course, if we crop in a little bit closer, you can just see, look at that beautiful blue tones and those lush green colors. Really spectacular colors right out of the camera. And then all of a sudden these flamingos started to come around, so we left. And a shot just taken at nighttime. Of course, these are all handheld, nothing fancy, just basically snapshots. Now this camera actually gives you a choice of 3 different settings on EXR, and I just want to show you that. So if you go into the EXR mode here, notice that's going to give you on top resolution priority, which is going to give you the full 16 megapixel resolution image, full resolution. And the next one down is called the high ISO and low noise. So what this does, it doubles up the pixels and increases your sensitivity, and it's going to give you really nice low light shots with this. However, I prefer shooting in the D range priority. What the D range priority does is take your megapixel down to 8 megapixel on your high dynamic range. And this automatically captures and combines 2 separate images, and it produces really great shots in really high contrast situations. So if you have something that's really, really bright or high key, and instead of blowing out all the details in there, it's going to pick up more detail in your really high contrast areas. So it's going to give you a lot more detail in those really, really bright highlights. And this is where I keep my Fuji all the time, at 8 megapixel. And with 8 megapixel, I can easily do prints that are way larger than what I need at this point. So for a point and shoot, excellent camera. And another really, really favorite feature of mine is the ability to shoot beautiful panoramas. So for this, you go into the advanced mode, and if you go into the advanced mode, you're going to see 3 different settings. Panorama. Next one is Pro Focus. Now the Pro Focus is similar to, say you're doing a portrait headshot, and you're focusing on the subject. Of course, you mainly focus on the eyes. And then it's going to knock the background out of focus, just as though you were using a really beautiful portrait lens. That's kind of a neat feature if you want to do that. And the other one is it's going to give you a pro low light. So it's going to give you better low light images. Okay, so now we're shooting in the panorama mode. And remember, I'm shooting from left to right, and I'm also holding the camera in a vertical position. This way I get a little bit higher resolution by doing that. So that's the way I think just about all these. Maybe one was taken the other way, horizontal. But let's take a look. And here you can see this was at the Raleigh State Fair, and there's those crazy flamingos again. This was taken at nighttime, just the street lights and some of the storefront. So beautiful panoramas at night. And this is a local park that I like to walk in occasionally. In this case here, I took one going up and down in a vertical position. You can see my feet there on the bottom. And then I also set the camera to do a sepia, like a little brown tone, and that's how that looks. This is by our pool. And then I did a little bit of enhancement in Photoshop, made it a little fancy. And then going back out to the park, in the late fall, you can see a lot of the leaves are just about all the way down. You can see the beautiful panoramic, sharp, crystal clear images that comes out of this camera. Really amazing. One thing, I did read some reviews that people, they weren't quite happy with certain things, but I'll tell you though, if you learn some of the features, and I basically know just a little bit about this camera and just the results that I got from it, just by shooting. But it's really, really hard to go wrong, though, with this little camera at this price. So somebody looking for a great compact point and shoot, small, easy to carry around, well built, very comfortable to hold. And it does a really nice job of taking movies also.
Now, mine went outside on my shoulder. Oh, dear.
Fuji F600 EXR. Thank you very much.